talking, I don't sweat that. If they don't trust me either, I respect that. But she need down the ride, oh, I bet that. Ooh, I slide for my people, don't forget that. Don't forget that, don't forget that. Ooh, I slide for my people, don't forget that. Don't forget that, don't forget that. Ooh, I slide for my people, don't forget that.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is J.H. How y'all doing, Postal family? Is everybody good? Is everybody cool? Everybody clean? Are you crisp? Are you feeling airy today? Let's talk. I'm about to play this clip with the Oversight Committee over the United States Postal Service grilling Dejoy once again. The one thing that I've learned through the years of watching this is that a lot of what the Oversight Committee says and does on TV is for show. At the end of the day, is for show. I watched this whole I listened to this whole 3.5 hour clip, and I pulled out some things for you guys to listen to if you kind of watch it. It's maybe 6-7 minutes and just listen. I pulled out and chopped it up a little bit so you could hear some points. I noticed that one of the senators or committee members was talking to him and said, we spoke a little bit earlier. So really they talk beforehand. But again, this is for show so that we can get amped up and say, yeah, man, fuck Dejoy. But the one thing that I've noticed is that they tend to talk over him. And when he gives answers that are actually good answers, they dismiss them. So I leave some bullet points in there so you guys can see it as well. From my perspective, government really doesn't want to see us exist. They just like to make us worked up. And I'm learning this slowly. Dejoy's been in there for 3 years and some change and has made some changes. When we first started, we were at $100 billion in debt. A lot of things they say to him is pretty unfair. Somebody that's $100 billion in debt and say, hey, we're going to give you a couple $1 billion, fix it. And they expect him to pull miracles out. Now, again, I'm not defending him. But what I do know is that things are changing. Things are changing. And when he mentions that there are good changes, he tries to they try to implicate us and say, we're not. I don't know. It's weird how, once he starts talking about the hardworking people, they dismiss him. So listen to the little clips for yourself. Tell me what you think. This is just a small bit. These are kind of important pieces as well, as he's talking about the new vehicles and do we need them, and he needed them yesterday and how much these people delay. It speaks about the electric vehicles, how he was forced into getting electric vehicles. It wasn't his choice. It was one of those things where it was everybody else making sure that you got electric vehicles. Now it's a big problem, etc. So when you give people this much to work with and you want them to work, 700,000 people all over the country and say, fix it in 3 years. He told them it's a 10-year plan. Anyway, before we get into that, I know there are people that heard that there was a shooting at one of the facilities in Texas, and there's, still things that are up for speculation. It was one employee against another. That was what we heard earlier today. What I learned after the fact, and you kind of see it on Facebook in little clips, is that it was a young man. He was 24 years old, and he shot another man in his mid-30s that worked at the post office. But what they're saying that he's a contractor. The only other contractors that work at the post office typically are truck drivers. The guys come to the dock, they're contractors, as well as some outside contractors for, maintenance purposes, which is very rare. So I don't want to make no assumptions, but, you got one of our employees, USPS, and then they say another USPS employee. Well, if he's a contractor, he's a contractor of United States Postal Service. What could have happened? 2 men Y'all figure that one out. It's unfortunately a shame. Somebody mentioned about the safety aspect of it, and the way that they put this out, and I guarantee everybody's going to hear stand-up talk before the end of this week, is, yeah, well, you know, they told everybody to run. That was their game plan. It's a brand new facility, and they told everybody run. That's their game plan. Active shooter, run. What? Yeah, so I know a lot of the people around this country are worried, well, how the hell is this guy getting there with a gun? Man, that is a story for another day. Again, it's going to open up a can of worms. Where's the security end of it? Who knows? But a lot of people should still feel secure. This is a very rare instance. I started reading the comments and, oh, it's going postal. Well, shit, you hear about this once in a blue moon. I mean, there are fights all the time, but a shooting at a post office is very, very, very rare. There's shootings every day, McDonald's, anywhere in the country, but at a post office is very rare. So the people that mention this to us, or mention it to me, saying, you know, they're a little concerned, you know, about the safety. Of course, safety is always a thing. We're always going to talk about safety because our lives matter more than a damn piece of mail. But, you know, the one thing that, you know, kind of raised my interest was their escape plan. Biggest, you know, freaking organization in the world and in the country, and they're talking about run. That's what they teach management to tell us. You know, that's failed training, and I'm hope that management can figure out a way to come up with a better game plan. I mean, if my kid's school is teaching them how to survive this, we can clearly teach adults how to survive this. I'm sure you all agree. But without further ado, take a look at this video. Y'all tell me what you think. Again, it's only my opinion. I think that they're just giving Dejoy the shaft. They needed a fall guy for this. I keep saying, oh, it's been failing. Well, shit, it's been failing forever, you know, for a long time. They just threw that man in the waters, and now he's trying to make his way out. It's real difficult when you got a bunch of people throwing their shade at you, trying to make people understand what it is you're trying to do. Because again, we look at our government at this current moment, they're not on our same page, regardless of what side of the aisle you are on. A lot of them are not on the same page. That's why I also tell you guys, it comes down to unions. You see the people that are sitting up there and you don't feel like they're on the same side as you, change it from within. All right, take a look. Y'all tell me what you think. This is JH.
And rather than trying to figure out how to improve their performance, it's changing the grading standard. Is that right?
I disagree with the premise. I get myself a good grade.
Okay. Well, I'm just going by the numbers that exist. I mean, isn't it the case that in all 50 postal districts, you have not lived up to the 95%?
First of all, 95% never had a target date, right? We never had it's a 10-year plan, sir. It was 25 years of destruction. It's a 10-year plan. Okay, right now, as I said, 50% of first-class mail, of market-dominant mail gets delivered a day in advance, 85% on time, 95% within 3 days, which is better than the service was when I got here, and we are making dramatic change. We've moved 1 million people around the nation. We've opened up 200 different facilities, right?
All right, I appreciate all of that. Ms. Hall, let me come to you. Do you regret now having set that break-even point at 2023 or 2024 when you first set this out?
So there's a lot of things I regret sitting here, okay? I was here 3.5 months. I had projections. I had an understanding of what the operation was and should have been doing, right? I had a board. We sat down and we put something together that said something that had been that lost $100 billion over the last 10 years, right? Which and was more broke than one could even imagine, okay? We put a number together and we went for it. And we got a lot done, and we're still getting a lot done.
Okay, and can you break even without Congress's help? Are you saying you need Congress's help to do it now?
I think it's good. Next year, I'll have 600,000 people on my payroll, maybe 610. I'll have 720,000 on my retirement plan. That's a problem.
Johnson.
Thank you. Always great to talk about the Postal Service. Used to collect stamps. Just to give you a little little history. The last 3-cent stamp was in 1958, the Mackinac Bridge stamp. So there you are. Now, you said that your first-class stamps are lower than other countries. I wasn't aware of that. Could you give us a little story as to where the first-class stamp is today in, say, Canada or Mexico or the UK?
UK is about $2, $2 for a stamp. Paris, UK, Europe's in the $2 range, $1.50. I'm sorry.
What's Canada and Mexico?
I don't know. I have I can get you a chart, but we're at the bottom. We're down with Ecuador and countries like that. Most of the industrial world is in the $1.50 plus range.
Okay. Overall, well, next question. Are there any requirements with regard to electric vehicles for the post office?
There's we have a plan to deploy electric vehicles. We have a commitment to buy, we have a plan to buy 106,000 vehicles over the next 5 years, of which 66,000 will be electric. This year we took in 28,000 vehicles, of which 22,000 vehicles were gas vehicles. Next year, it'll be about 50-50, and then the following year on the acquisitions we have will be.
Do you have any statistics as far as the cost of gas versus electric?
Well, Congressman, I was in the crossfire of a whole bunch of issues and did not agree to put electric vehicles into our fleet until we had the appropriate cost benefits to the organization. The IRA program, which was approved by this Congress, gave us $1.9 billion for infrastructure cost and gave us $1.2 billion for new vehicle costs, of which we have put together a plan that does in fact work for the Postal Service with that particular, with those particular cost structures. We are buying, special purpose long-term vehicles that'll last us 20, 25 years at a relatively good cost with the IRA offset, and all my infrastructure will be paid for this set of vehicles coming out. We were studying the charges now as it moves forward. We have our routes are set up for this type of service. Some of these vehicles we don't have to charge for 3 days, and the cost. I believe when I look back at the cost improvements that we get, it's only when we get out to the cost of all the 10, let's say a battery lasts 10 years. There is cost benefit to us on maintenance and fuel and so forth for the 10 years. It's when you go to buy that new battery using today's battery cost that it puts us over could put us over the return.
Given your druthers, would you rather have gasoline-powered vehicles if your sole goal was to save money?
So my need was to have vehicles like now,
Yeah,
like 5 years ago.
Yeah, just straight up and down. If we wanted to save money in the next 10 years, would you feel better if we said it would be all gas?
I feel good where we are. I feel good where we are. We.
Well, that can't be right. It's half of each. Which is less expensive? They can't be identical. Maybe they are identical. I don't know.
Look, this is a time constraint. Once installed, the places that we're installing, we couldn't put electric vehicles everywhere, and we couldn't put electric vehicles in overnight. Okay, but once installed, and if you you offset the capital costs, which we have, it's a pretty decent thing. It's a nice vehicle. We have better monitoring on it, and it's lower in maintenance.
I'll give you another question because I'm almost running out. We were talking this morning. Do you have any people in the post office which you'd refer to as DEI professionals, or people who are focused on that sort of thing, either with regard to people you hire or with regard to government contracting?
Congressman, this is a hard-working, focused, boots-on-the-ground organization. We have our normal, in terms of a plan, we have our diversity goals, but that is just handled by our basic HR department, and we are a diverse group of diverse organization, mostly focused on deliver mail and packages.
Does that affect who you hire or who you promote?
I mean, we pay it, we pay it to, you can look at my organization and look at, and see what the, make your own judgment on it. But I hire and relocate people based on intensive evaluation of their performance. And I believe most of the organization, does that.
Thank you.
Unexpected expenses stressing you out? Get the money you need now with Loans for Feds, a program designed specifically for federal employees. Bad credit is not a problem. Application is fast and easy with same-day approvals. Apply now.